It begins. Ukrainian vehicles storm enemy ground. Bradley deploys flares to prevent Russian forces from using heat-seeking missiles. As part of an aggressive maneuver, the Bradley initiates suppressive fire to neutralize threats along its path to Russian-held territory. Seeing the rapid advance of Ukrainian forces, a number of Russian soldiers abandon the stronghold, attempting to escape on motorcycles. The situation caught them off guard. For many, it was their first time in combat. Targeting the suspected Russian defenses, Bradley launches a tow missile. The second missile explodes just off the path the Russians are fleeing on, sending shockwaves that leave one soldier severely concussed.
Ты чё въебуешься в меня, бля? Разбегаемся быстрее!
The fear they feel is almost primal, like that of an animal cornered. The Russians ditch their motorcycles and run. Seeing this, the Ukrainians send in a bomber drone to take them out.
Не стойте, на месте, мужики, не стойте на месте!
Grenade detonates just a couple meters away from the soldier.
Я контуженный! Я контуженный, говорю!
Cut up by shrapnel and running on pure adrenaline, they scatter like ants. One of the soldiers heads back toward the motorcycle.
Друже, смотри, он опять бежит к мотоциклу. Видишь его, да?
Да.
With Bradley fire and drone blasts all around, he tries to escape, but he's already in the sights. The Ukrainian drone closes in on him just as he's about to escape the carnage. Look at that. Adrenaline masks the pain, allowing him to push forward for a while. But it's only a matter of time before he collapses. The vehicles move forward. As you can see, the gunner in the APC on the left is laying down suppressive fire with the M2 Browning, while the soldiers inside are gearing up and encouraging each other before jumping out. Soon the Bradley joins in, its 25mm cannon ensuring the Russians have no chance to return fire. Armored personnel carrier and Bradley separate, each heading toward different enemy positions.
This video will take an inside look into the basic engineering of driving this infantry fighting vehicle. Interestingly, if you make this steering yoke turn left, this helps in increasing the speed on the right sprockets, which helps in turning the vehicle left instead of right. As an infantry fighting vehicle, we need to move the turret using the Cadillac switch to fire the Bushmaster chain gun, or the tow tube launched optically tracked wireless guided missile.
The Russians send up a drone for coordination and surveillance after losing contact with the first strong point.
Низкая облачность, туман. Взлет наблюдаю, высоту набирает.
Да, принял, работаем.
The vehicles scatter in different directions, actively maneuvering to avoid being targeted by howitzers.
Тихий, я скопа, обнаружили автотранспорт противника, я капотирована техника.
The decision was made to strike them with a large number of MLRS rockets and unguided air-to-ground rockets from frontline bombers. Due to the threat of Ukrainian SAMs, Su-25 aircraft operate at ultra-low altitudes to reduce radar exposure. At the same time, the MLRS system is setting up on position and adjusting the rocket salvo direction.
Принял, по готовности? Да, 5 огонь. Принял.
The Su-25s fly at extremely low altitudes, entering enemy airspace and preparing to launch a missile strike. The MLRS crew's failure to coordinate nearly resulted in a disaster. Imagine the terror the pilot must have experienced. A full rocket barrage is unleashed on the coordinates. This is what a combined storm of air-launched rockets and MLRS looks like. The APC is closing in on the drop zone when a rocket slams into the ground just ahead. The machine gunner fires to suppress any potential enemy strongholds before the deployment. The soldiers dismount from the APC, covering each other as they scan the area. Everything is going according to plan. They flank the Russians and are tightening the noose. With the enemy still unaware, there's time to unload gear and set up for the assault. The machine gunner loads the ammo box. Russians realize they're being flanked and respond with fire. Battle explodes into motion. Troops fire on suspected Russian positions. This is modern war, where 80% of the time you shoot without seeing who you're fighting. The Russians are fighting hard to hold their second position, aware that if it falls, the consequences will be severe. The enemy IFV advances, trying to break through with heavy suppressive fire. Operator of anti-tank grenade launcher takes aim. The shot hits its mark, immobilizing the deadly vehicle. The final shot pierces the APC's armor, sending its crew straight to Valhalla. The threat from the right is no more, with only sporadic shots heard. It seems the Ukrainians have taken the stronghold from the Russians. Exhausted from the battle, they retreat into the trenches to catch their breath. After losing control of the position, the Russian command adapts, switching to artillery strikes with this high rate of fire system. That 120mm beast spits out up to 10 shells a minute. With their weapons reloaded, they breathe out, only for the silence to be shattered by the first incoming shell. The Russians use high-explosive fragmentation shells. The shrapnel radius reaches up to 300 feet, and they can penetrate even fortified positions.
Куда? А вот, въебало, пускай накроет точку 3, 4, 5. Оттуда по нам ведется огонь, как принял.
Є картинка, є тілема. Від гвинта.
After firing 10 shots, the artillery moves to dodge counter-battery fire. But the Ukrainians find it with their FPV drone. The commander notices the drone and jumps out while on the move, narrowly escaping with his life. The FPV drone's shaped charge strikes the ammo compartment, tearing the vehicle to pieces. Meanwhile, the Su-25s have reloaded and are ready for another strike. They fly extremely low, continuously releasing flares to avoid becoming targets for Ukrainian SAMs. After the first airstrike, the Ukrainians called in their air defense systems to prevent Russian aircraft from taking control of the area. The SAM crew aims the targeting system at the enemy aircraft. As the Su-25s approach the position held by the Ukrainians, they release their entire munition load. Rockets rain down like hail, forcing Ukrainian troops to hug the trench walls, trying to survive the deadly storm of shrapnel. Returning to base, the Su-25s enter the range of the Ukrainian SAM system. The operator locks the missile onto the target. The plane accelerates toward the ground, its control systems inoperable, with no hope of recovery. Ejecting was impossible. The pilot lost consciousness from the blast. Russia has some of the most advanced radar systems, capable of spotting missile launch points. Radar systems detect the missile launch almost immediately. A command is issued to relay the coordinates to the Lancet drone and eliminate the launch team. With no time to relocate, the Ukrainian operators are about to face a deadly precision strike. The Lancet lifts off and locates the Ukrainian air defense system. The operator guides it straight to the target. Driver jumps clear seconds before impact. Lancet strike lands square, wiping out every critical targeting and missile system on board. To their immense relief, the missile compartment didn't explode, and they stayed alive. The second pilot lands, mission complete. But the loss of his comrade is irreversible. Having endured the bombardment, The Ukrainians launch drones to monitor the area they've secured. 3 soldiers are tasked with checking every hole where the enemy might be hiding. Going into those holes is deadly business. That's why the grenades go in first.
Друже, коротше, це, блядь, окопка, нахуй. Маленька і, блядь, норка, сука. Да, живой!
His courage was real. The reason behind it? No one knows. No one ever will.
Мужик! Сдавайся, блядь! Жить будешь!
He accepted the end. One-way ticket. No surrender. War is merciless.
Контроль, контроль. Граната!
This is Pod 5, the first fully immersive sleep system. Intelligent, adaptive, effortless. It doesn't replace your bed, it transforms it. Pod 5 listens and responds to your needs in real time.
Так, братан, ты контроль, но пока не стреляй, потому что мы туда выходим. О, да, да. Так, 1200. С калашом.
Привет, братан, я за тобой наблюдаю, да, плюс-плюс, туда.
Closing in, they don't hesitate. A quick hand signal, then the first grenade arcs into the foxhole.
Оп, давай. Еще попробуй. Да. Давай.
The second grenade is thrown into the hole, followed by a burst of gunfire.
Друже, плюс, вона чиста. Раз. 200.
In keeping with tradition, the soldiers tear off patches and insignia from the bodies of the fallen enemies, keeping them as tokens of the combat operation they participated in.
Спаси и сохрани. Не помогло и себе вешать не буду, наверное, тоже не поможет.
After the area has been cleared, reinforcements arrive. The soldiers fortify their position, replenish their supplies, and strengthen their defenses to ensure the enemy won't be able to reclaim it. So what was the Bradley up to all this time? It played the decoy, keeping the enemy locked on while the real hammer was raised somewhere else. As he advances deeper into enemy territory, all FPV crews within the grid begin to target him. Russian operators are hitting the target effectively, but without significant damage. The Bradley's armor can withstand even anti-tank grenade launchers. 2 perfect hits. Still, the vehicle pushes forward. The third drone circles in like a hawk, its eyes locked on Bradley's optics. A precise strike meant to rob it of sight and leave it exposed to the coming artillery fire. A rare sight on the battlefield. The Bradley's gunner detects an approaching FPV and engages. Hitting such a small and fast target seems unlikely, yet the drone is shot down mid-flight. The drone's failed, artillery steps in. The gun stands ready, and it's about to speak.
2 снаряда беговым. Огонь.
This artillery system is considered the most accurate in Russia. However, no matter how precise it is, hitting a moving target is more about luck. Maneuvering at full speed, the Bradley drives into a village held by Russian forces. The final artillery shell detonates just feet from the vehicle, sending a storm of debris in every direction. As soon as the Bradley enters the village, it opens fire on the buildings where Russian forces are known to be. The enemy artillery is now silent, fearing that their own troops could be caught in the blast. The Ukrainians seize the advantage, deploying their landing force right in the heart of the village. The Russians are unable to establish a proper defense, as they didn't have time to set up positions, and the village is held by a maximum of 20 soldiers. Ukrainians throw grenades into the houses where they spot any movement. This Russian soldier was lucky. He managed to escape from the burning building. The Ukrainians are operating with maximum coordination. Covering one another, they clear every building along the way. If there's a basement or a hideout, they toss in several grenades to avoid unnecessary risk. The Russian infantry is disoriented, trying to call for reinforcements. Just as the Ukrainian soldier pulls the pin, a Russian grenade lands near him. Unshaken, he throws his own, grabs the enemy's grenade, and throws it right after. Not a single chance for the enemy to survive. A soldier picks up a captured AK and heads back to his unit when suddenly a Russian fiber-optic FPV drone comes in. It's almost laughable, but clearly God wanted him to live. A miracle in the midst of war. The long-awaited backup charges in to aid Russian troops. 10 soldiers dismount from the APC and hit the ground, scanning the area as they prepare to counterattack the Ukrainians. The APC turns around and heads back to pick up another group of troops. But the Ukrainian drone operators maintain full control. The drone, equipped with a camera and an anti-tank warhead, heads toward the target. The operator is circling the armored vehicle, looking for its weak spot. Looks like that drone net is just for show, not for actual protection.
Єсть. Щось горить. Ага, вогник, жарко.
The vehicle is down. No reinforcements are coming. Bradley seems to be heading straight for the Russian drop zone. Russian forces are in the open. They're sitting ducks. No cover. Nothing. The 25 millimeters didn't stop, just kept cutting them down. Ukrainian drone operators survey the terrain and confirm the enemy unit has been completely eliminated. Bradley team completed their objective, successfully drew enemy attention long enough for the assault group advancing through the tree line to secure their position. Afterwards, they load back into the Bradley and retreat, covering their exit with suppressive fire on areas where Russian troops might still be hiding. Here comes the second group of Russian troops, those who didn't make it due to the APC disabled by the Ukrainians. The gunner catches movement ahead. The commander doesn't waste a second, firing off heat flares to confuse the enemy's anti-tank missiles. The last round is fired at the Russian troops, wiping out the group completely, while the Bradley is engaging an anti-tank crew on a buggy, flanks the village and launches the first missile.
Hi, my name's Kelly Poole. I'm the founder and CEO of Talent Pool Consulting. The speed and efficiency of the fiber freelancers has really been game-changing for us. It's helped take us from telling the story about Talent Pool.
The missile stays locked by the operator's laser until the very last second. The explosion hits, but the Bradley emerges from the smoke, still rolling. The second missile is launched and heads straight for the engine and transmission compartment. The vehicle slowly loses speed and starts to smoke. The soldiers try to escape the burning vehicle, but the hydraulic mechanism of the ramp is jammed. With no time to lose, they smash open a hatch and escape. Russian artillery opens up. The Ukrainian soldiers make a quick dash for the tree line. A delay could have led to casualties. High explosive shells tear through everything around, turning the Bradley into a sieve. During the evacuation, not everyone made it out alive. After covering nearly 6 miles through the gray zone, the remaining soldiers call in an evac pickup over the radio. The soldiers ride in silence, haunted by the memories of their fallen brothers. Surrender was never an option. This is their land, their home. The enemy must be destroyed. Riding high on the Bradley takedown, Russian troops lift a bomber drone into the air and make a show of it. They film as grenades are dropped right into the open hatches, torching the vehicle from the inside. The footage was soon paraded on Russian propaganda outlets, proudly stating, "That's how our guys smash American Bradleys straight into the junk pile." The battlefield doesn't care for lies. Russian troops forcing their way through see with their own eyes what resistance really looks like. One of them hits record, not to mock, but to honor what he saw in the enemy.